everyone. Welcome back to Men's Couch. I am Dimitri.
I'm Daniel.
I'm Royce. I'm a guest on the show.
And I'm Micah.
Well,
We had a little bit of technical issues, but we kind of resolved them. Today we're here. Well, welcome back. We're here to talk about male affection and affirming each other.
I just want to say before we start, we appreciate Royce for coming on. Thank you. Thank you.
Our guests.
I'm waving like I'm on camera, but hi everybody.
I don't know. You have to closer.
Oh, I'm waving like I'm on camera. Hi everybody. Never did a podcast before.
And also make sure it's facing you.
No, I picked it up.
Oh, I don't know.
I picked it up a little bit.
I don't know.
The host star of the show, Royce.
Okay. So we're talking about affection.
Do you want to start with affection first or affirmation?
We can do affection.
Okay, so affection. I was talking with Royce the other day about it was me, Daphne, and Royce were on the same couch, and we were huddled together.
Really?
Yeah.
It was cold.
Yeah, it was cold. It was cold.
It was cold.
So we were huddled together, and we were Royce had his arms around us, and it was a nice friendship moment to just enjoy. But why does it look I'm getting some uncomfortable looks right now? Why is that why is that seeming uncomfortable?
Mike, I guess you took your spot after you left. I did.
You took my spot.
Yeah, I was literally cuddling on the couch with Daphne and Royce the whole time.
So what was that experience for you?
I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah,
I guess.
was it comfortable?
The couch was pretty comfortable.
I can start.
More comfortable than the other one.
Okay, let's
okay, you want to say why I'd find why it would not make me uncomfortable, but why I'm uncomfortable with it?
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know, for whatever the reason, I don't know. I guess that's why we're talking about it, because we don't really know what the reason is. I would definitely be, I'll be honest, a lot of time when I'm laying with one of my friends, a guy friend, not in a mean way. Usually it's just a joke, in the sense that I would do it because it makes them uncomfortable, or they're why are you laying next to me? No, it's we're joking with one another. We're joking. We're joking. We're joking. So it's I'll do it. I've done it before. Well, not in a bed. It's we're we're laying next to each other on the floor or something, or oh yeah. Well, that's
Men's
different.
Couch.
That's different.
Men's couch, everyone.
No, because we be chilling on the. Okay, honestly, one thing I will say too, it definitely depends on the person. They're definitely because there's friends back home that I would be if I'm close to them on a couch, it would be. I'd be more inclined to do so, but at the same time, it's I guess we could talk about why is it frowned upon? Because in our society, that's considered.
Frowned upon?
Yeah, in our society, it's considered I don't say the word.
It's considered gay. You can say it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I don't know if that was okay. Yeah. But yeah, it's considered it's considered gay to do that.
Gay. I'm just kidding.
Oh, I'm sorry,
okay.
guys.
I guess I'm gay too.
Okay, so when I say that this podcast is not bashing anyone of a different.
Yeah, that's why I was
having to say that bashing anyone of a different sexual orientation, but gay meaning anything that people
people use it as offensive. People take offensive.
People perceive that as gay, whereas and I was talking to my friend, whereas 100 years ago that was normalized for men to show affection in that way, to be that close, but over time it's become not normalized. Why did it change? Why are we so uncomfortable with that?
I think that's really something that needs to be looked into, at least in American society. You're gonna edit that one out. But that should be looked into within American society, because you look at other societies such as India, and men can hold hands in public walking down the street with no problem.
Without it being assumed as anything. Why is it?
So I really want to get to know why that is. Yeah. Is it because does context matter in this situation? Does the person matter in this situation? Who you're dealing with, what you're doing. There are a lot of factors to be considered.
The boundaries of what's okay. And
Exactly. There are boundaries that a lot of people may not want to cross.
Yeah.
It may just be, I don't know, because it was cold. And I think a lot of times I wouldn't do that with anyone else in any other particular situation, like
Mhm.
like another guy.
Mhm.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that,
Yeah.
but there are just some times where it's just like I don't think I really want to do that at the moment. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Right.
I feel like a lot of it is public perception. Like
Yeah,
if
public
if other people see you doing it, then they're like,
social
oh.
perception.
Well, the one thing I've like tried to get better at is just like not caring as much. I'll be the first to admit it. I don't know if you'd see me like holding hands with someone walking in like I don't know if I would honestly, because like I don't
Maybe
know.
that's not like your love language.
Yeah, not really, not
that's
really.
not, like,
I
how-
wouldn't.
Like affections is not like how you express your love towards somebody.
Yeah, I'm more of like a words of affirmation kind
Yeah.
of person.
Yeah.
But
Some
like,
people are-
yeah. So like, if I would probably never do it just because like I don't know, that would make me uncomfortable. I think.
Yeah.
But like, I don't care. I'm not gonna like see someone else and be like, oh, that's weird.
Yeah. You wouldn't like just bash someone else.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the type of person like I'm not gonna judge someone just because like I like see them doing something that I like wouldn't do myself.
Yeah.
Is basically what I'm saying.
But okay, got it.
So basically, like, what other people were saying, like, I don't want to, like, judge people by their cover. Pretty much, it's like, you shouldn't judge other people by, like, their race, ethnicity, or gender. Just because you're, like, a different sexual orientation or different race doesn't mean you just make fun of them. Like, say, for example, you see someone, like, walking and you say, like, hi to them, but next thing you know, they, like, call you out for something. That's an example of like discrimination because you're calling them out by a different shortcoming than what the other person is.
So basically, like my epiphany yesterday was like, I'm like comfortable with this, like with what we did yesterday was like being on the couch and like huddled together. So I'm like I'm comfortable with that, but like I felt, and then like another part of me was like, this is like I'm comfortable with this, but like it's just like weird, and it's because it's just like I'm trying to like kind of break out of that like societal. What's wrong?
Royce.
The mic.
Oh, so I'm trying to break out of that like societal mindset of because we're physical people, we're physical beings, so it shouldn't be like shamed if you want to like. You notice I'm a very like touchy, like I'll pat you on the back or pat you on the shoulder like a lot.
I mean, that's like I'm fine with that. That's
I'll do that like a lot.
I mean, that's fine.
Or like hug you, like even though like if I haven't seen you in a day, like that I'm like a huge physical person
Of course.
because I've always been that way since as a child. But it was kind of like looked down upon, like what's like men aren't supposed to be like this touchy feely with one another and Okay, go ahead.
Oh, well, I was gonna say something after Micah, but he decided to let me so graciously go. Anyway, so what he brought up was that he was like that as a child, and that's great, and that's amazing. But a lot of
You might want to.
a lot of it stems from things like social norms and how people were raised, and even if they were raised or were a certain way when they were growing up, and since they were a child, they may feel they may be influenced by the environment around them, such as how other boys behave themselves around other boys. They may not see each other holding hands or hugging each other in primary school or even secondary school,
Yeah.
the way they would in preschool. And that really leads up to them really being unopen to it in fear of being deviant from the social norms, and that's just like a sociological thing.
Yeah, it's the social.
And there's also the fact that even if this was the case, people can become more open to it. Like, for example, I knew Micah in high school in 11th and 12th grade, and I do remember him being like for lack of a better term, touchy-feely,
Because that's my personality.
Yeah, that's his personality, and there's nothing wrong with that, but people seem to be a little,
like, what's wrong with them?
Yeah, not even what's wrong with them, but it's like, that's not normal. They'll say that.
Yeah.
And they'll tend to be a little driven away by it.
Yeah.
But a lot of it comes from, like, a sense of closed-mindedness, but also, how they were brought up from childhood to that current point. And my open-mindedness, I am so open-minded, so open-minded.
Okay.
I hope everyone heard that.
Yeah, okay.
But besides the jokes, I wasn't really open to it at first. Like he would try to like hug me, and I was like, whoa, man, because I was like,
Yeah.
I was mostly confused. Like this is people don't really do this.
Yeah.
But after
Yeah.
a while,
It was very awkward.
yeah. But after a
Yeah.
while, I kind of like opened up to it. Like hugs feel nice, even if it is from another guy. And,
Yeah.
and it's not like it's on any, romantic basis.
Yeah,
Like
people
obviously.
think it's romantic. They perceive it as romantic, whereas actually
Yeah, that's like me.
it's
yeah,
actually
yeah.
just like friendly. But back then, when I did my research, back then like 100 years ago, people didn't perceive it as romantic. They actually perceived it as just a normal thing. And Marisa Franco actually talks about it in her book Platonic, which I recommend everyone read. Anyway, so she references that in her book and says like back then it was actually normal for this like type of like affection, whether it be like with women, like how women are, even women are still like that today, or men with men. So yeah.
Yeah, it's the same kind of sociological shift from like pink being a man's color and blue being a woman's color
Yeah.
to it becoming vice versa, which we were also talking about the other day.
Yeah.
And it's really actually really interesting to see how those kinds of social norms evolve.
Yeah.
But yeah, you just kind of have to wonder what makes people the way they are from their past events.
Yeah, and there's also like another level of I had to like accept that not everyone is like comfortable with that. Like you weren't comfortable with that, so I couldn't like just like
Exactly.
I couldn't do that. So I had to like there are boundaries where you have to ask like, are you okay with this? Are you okay with me like my hand on your shoulder? Like I have to communicate and ask that before like just assuming that. But okay,
Sorry.
but like you mentioned, like a lot of it has to do with in the video that you're watching, the which I guess I'll link in the description, the homosexualizing of men's friendships. I think it's like such a huge like problem. It's such a huge problem that I've like basically had to deal with like in high school, because I guess like that was like the social aspect of high school was just like how we reacted. It was just like kind of like everything deemed like feminine was kind of just like assumed that you were like into this person because I'm like more, and me being like me growing up as like an emotionally more expressive and like touchy-feely guy, I got all these like comments saying that there was something wrong with me for expressing. That's how I express.
You got labeled.
Yeah. So
Right.
I got labeled
Right.
for something that I wasn't because of this social perspective of what how men should react.
That's what happens though. Like
Yeah.
if you hang out, like if you hang out with someone that people are like all like automatically gonna like label you
Yeah.
as such,
And this isn't like a rant, but it's more of like a realization of just more of a realization
do anything.
of just myself and just realizing that I'm not weird. So
Yeah, and I think a lot of it comes from the type of person that people think you are, and they don't know you.
yeah.
So if they think you're, if you're queer or
Yeah.
gay, I'm sorry, I don't know the respectable term for that.
It's
But
okay.
if they think of you as anything like that, they'll probably think that it's weird for you to touch them. Whereas if they know somebody is like a straight male through and through, well, if they think that, then they'll be a lot more open to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
But they didn't think that but society, like, they didn't think that way. What, like, I would say now it's like 100 years ago.
Are you sure that's true, by the way?
Yeah, it's true.
Are you 100% sure?
I'm sure it's true. Like, it's history. It's part of history. But we don't know about that because what's normal to us now, norms were different back then.
Because
But we don't think about those things when we're interacting with people, about like social norms and that. We don't think that was normal back then, because we didn't live in that time. So we only go by what we see. So we're only seeing like, okay, this is what's going on now. So this must have always been, but it wasn't always like that.
exactly.
That's what I'm like trying to say.
Yes.
Yeah, things aren't universally true across all history.
Yeah.
yeah, because I feel like, I mean, well, not for me, but I feel like any like one, not like everyone's dad, but like I feel like that generation is like not against it.
But not open to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing too. It's like generations. I don't. So another thing. I'm not trying to like. I don't know if my dad's listening to this, but anyway. I like me and my dad are two separate people. I'm just like more. I'm just like a lot more like emotionally expressive. I grew up like as a sensitive person, and I mentioned that like an HSP. I don't know if you know what that is, like highly sensitive person or like empath, like those psych terms. That's me. That describes me. I'm like a huge like sensitive person. But just from my perspective, he's just the total opposite, and just like not like into like like touching like, oh, I love you, like it's not like anything like that. So, and I guess like there's an aspect of if you grew up like, are you laughing? So I guess there's like an aspect where if you grew up like that, then you're just gonna think, well, that's what all like men do, and it's not normal to actually want like affection from like other male peers, or so you're gonna think it's like not normal. But I think me right now, like where I'm at right now, I'm just like learning to be more comfortable with it, and just not like feel like learning to be like not feel like so weird about it. Like this is like actual like nice. It's not like a bad thing to either like desire or to like experience.
Yeah.
Right.
And I know, like, my experience with my dad, like, there's, like, two sides of him. Like, one side, he can be, like, I don't know how to describe this, like, really smart, really talkative, like, very nice person, explains things very well. Another side of him can be, like, he's a little crazy and a little, like, hardcore. And I think those have, like, two different perspectives because Micah.
No, he said hardcore, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. And it has like two different aspects of life because they're like two different things. Like, I know a lot of experiences from my dad. Like, there's this one time where my dad, like, I'm not gonna really say this, but she did beat my sister with a belt at like 12 years old.
That's good discipline. Okay.
Wait, how does that?
I agree with that.
How does that relate to what we're saying?
What do you mean?
Are you saying like how like dads are not, or are you saying like it's because dads are like not? What are you trying to like say about that?
Dads can like.
So they're more. So
they can
less,
discriminate sometimes against.
So they're like less like emotionally.
Let's just say they're less emotional. They're like less and more emotionally when it comes to parenting and disciplining. Okay, so like the parenting and we also talked about attachment styles. So we'll say that for another podcast episode. So about how so basically, like my perspective is because of like generationally how it wasn't normal for men to talk about like mental health in the same way it wasn't normal for them to be like expressive because they didn't want to like raise weak sissies. I guess that was the mindset back then. I didn't live back then, so like they didn't want to.
That's still
like,
a thing today.
Oh, I guess I don't know.
That's still a thing today.
I don't have children, so I don't know.
You know what I mean? Either.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they didn't want to raise like because they thought what are you doing? They thought that showed weakness. That level of closest intimacy and vulnerability was equal to weakness. So they didn't want to like show that because that was the mindset that they had back then. Which is weird because it's like 100 years ago that was normal, but then like somewhere. So from like my research, it's like somewhere along like the lines of we can get into like I don't want to get too deep into it. So it was like around the early 20th century, like things started to kind of change, where we associate like I guess like sexuality with certain traits. But I'm not gonna get that's like that, I'm not gonna get into that.
Oh, I can ask something.
Basically,
Sorry.
What?
I'll ask something after you.
Oh.
Unless you want me to.
But we're talking about like affection here and how it's been beneficial to us as a benefit. It's like touch as a human need. as children, we see it as like super normal. It's like to be touched and to want to be touched. But maybe somewhere along the lines, it was kind of like we kind of just maybe like I don't know, I wouldn't say suppress that need, but we kind of just like kind of detach from that need.
Just like
what?
It's like what we were talking about in psychology. The pleasure, remember it was like the ID is like the pleasure thing, and then there's like
the ego,
yeah.
Okay.
But okay, anyways, what I want to say is I guess to add on further. I mean, not that. I guess to add on further to like not what anyone was saying, but like to add on to the topic. I feel like I've only said like that I love a friend to like 2 people.
That's another thing.
Or 3 people, and it's like my closest friends that I've known for like 7 years. But those are like the only friends I've ever said that to.
Yeah.
Obviously them
and
my brother, but you know.
And like when you guys left the room, what was it? Saturday night or whatever. I was like, I love you guys, like to all of you, and I'm still trying to like break out of that because naturally I would say like I love you to anybody, but it's still uncomfortable for me. It's still like uncomfortable to say like I love you to.
I think saying
That's
I love you is
relatable.
like a special thing saved for special people. I say it to my friends sometimes.
Yeah, I don't throw it
but-
around. I do not throw that
I mean,
word
you can
around
say
at
to like
all.
your best friends or people you're
Mhm.
close to.
Yeah, so it's like I said, I've only said it to like 2, maybe 3 of like my bestest friends I've known for like 7, 8, like it's like a very long time, and like
Mhm.
family obviously. That's it right
Okay.
there.
Yeah, I don't want anyone to take it as wrong to say I love you to people, but there are different preferences to saying it when you say it and who you say it to.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of variety in that, and you'll find different things in different people, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends on the person. Pretty
Yeah, it
much.
does depend on the person and what both people are comfortable with. I know for a while, I didn't like know how to like express like my appreciation like for my friends, and it's taken me like because I say that now like saying that now like I'm super like oh like hi guys I'm like that, but like I wasn't necessarily like always like that. I was more I guess like closed off because I felt that it was weird to express it. Like I couldn't even like say the words like I love you. It's so uncomfortable for me. And we talked about how it's uncomfortable in the last podcast episode, like affirmation is uncomfortable.
Mhm.
We talked about that.
I think there are different ways to say express affirmation other than the words I love you.
Yeah, there's like other ways.
Gifts.
There's other ways.
And it could be
The
physical
5 love
or
languages.
verbal.
There's
Yeah.
like gift giving, word of affirmations.
Yeah, some people like
touching.
yeah, some like and I'm still like more of like a writer, like I how I was talking about
Oh, that's
earlier,
one
how
of them,
I
yeah.
like sent letters to my friends. Like that's how
That was
like,
cool, yeah,
I
that was
show
good.
like appreciation
Yeah.
to them. So people I guess like and you know we can talk about like different friendship love languages or different like styles. This was like the one that we were talking about, like different styles, and I think that's interesting too. But we were talking about what Gary wanted us to kind of do like affirmation. I don't know if do you want to go into affirmation right now or do you want to like keep talking?
Did he want us to tell him at next week, or did he want us to just like do it whenever?
Well, that like from now until like next week, he wants to like talk about. He wants to like say affirmations to each other.
There's like a word that describes us.
Yeah,
right?
like what we notice about other people, like hey, you're caring or loyal, like something like that.
I mean, it's good. It's gonna be an uncomfortable situation, so we could.
We don't have to do it. Look, we can. Are we still like talking about affection?
Yeah, let's talk about affirmation and then deal with the other subject
Okay.
next time.
Wait. I still say one thing. Like one last thing to add. I feel like even when I was in like my first relationship, even for me, even being like the opposite gender, it was so hard for me to say like I love you at first. I feel like even then, I don't know. It's just like that's just like a big, you know.
It can still be hard.
I was just saying like, but I was just like that was me further saying like I only say like I love you to like people, you know. It takes me a while, you know. It was
Okay.
further adding to that point.
Yeah, but yeah, it's like different for everyone of how they approach verbal affirmation and physical touch, and I think sorry, I don't know why it's so loud. So I
Oh my god, nervous laugh.
I don't know. So I think I think there is this don't do that. I think there's like there's a perspective, like a social perspective of like other cultures. You look at other cultures and about how comfortable they are just doing that, and I want to be that way. Like I want to like be that for like somebody else. Like I want to do that like with the right context, of course. But like I want to like kind of not be like this culture, but
Yeah, it's like context. Yeah.
not be like this culture, but like sort of be inspired by them. Like, oh, these people are doing something, but it's like with no fear.
Like no fear of judgment from other people
or no
society
fear
in
of like
general?
things getting weird. Like they're not afraid of that because they're like
So you're saying that like they know it's not gonna get like love, or, like it's like a friend thing. Like they know it's not gonna be like.
So they're like secure like within like their identity or like their self themselves.
And people are like afraid to fess up.
I guess, but they're
You guess.
Yeah, but they're like secure within themselves that they don't like allow those fears to like kind of dictate their actions.
Yeah, I think society is on the trajectory to being more accepting of those kinds of things.
I think so.
Yeah, you think so too? Okay, because I feel like people are becoming more accepting, at least within the people that I see and I talk to. Everyone's more accepting of being affectionate towards their friends, being it like same gender, opposite gender. And the big problem with that kind of thing is that it gets conflated for feelings of things like romance or sexual attraction.
Yeah. Yeah, you're allowed. Yes.
Okay. Just making sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it gets conflated with those kinds of feelings instead of just platonic friendship.
Yeah.
And it took
like
me a while.
That's the actual thing, like platonic friendship, which is why I read the book Platonic. So.
Yeah, and it really hurts that cause when people say platonic friendship is just a ruse that is just a path to like a relationship, like a romantic relationship. And
it really does like kind of damage friendship.
Yeah, and even if someone does believe in those platonic friendships, it gets hard. So maybe that's also a reason why showing affection to say as a guy to another guy, giving each other a hug or like having your arm around them when you're sitting next to each other, it gets conflated for those kinds of feelings, and so they know that, and so it's hard for them to engage in that.
Okay, yeah, that makes so much sense. Thank you. you're
Yeah, you're doing good.
Never thought you'd be so good.
Wait. Can I ask a question real quick?
Yeah, go. You can ask.
What is it? What's the difference between like platonic friendship? It's like a regular friendship. I'm like confused.
Well, the definition of platonic is friendship. So like platonic love is just friendship.
Oh, so it's like the same thing as like a regular friendship.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's what I was making sure.
Yeah, like platonic love is just like loving someone as a friend.
Yeah.
I see.
Right.
What was I gonna say? I was gonna say something.
On to effect? No, I'm kidding. On to the next thing.
So another thing that was important is affirmation, and we mentioned like on the last episode that it was like kind of like hard to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like hard to do that.
It is really hard. I mean, for me, I don't know. At least for me, that's most people. Like, I feel like if you bring anyone, like Marm, it would be hard for Marm too. Literally anyone.
Why do you think it's hard?
I just don't really do it with many people, and it's just like I haven't really been put in a situation where I had to like say something like that. Well, it's different depending on like also like family. I don't know, because even though like I like words of affirmation, I only ever did it with like my relationship. I was like, okay, yeah, obviously I'm like, I like the words like, oh, you're so nice or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
It just like depends. If I got like I don't know, at least for me, like me complimenting, I don't know, it's hard for me to compliment like a guy on the side, like I know them for like it's the same as saying like I love you. It's just like I just don't do it, I guess, as much. Like I'll compliment.
Some people just don't do it. It's like the thing you repeat. That's just not their like.
So the more you do it, it'll be like
This is not their language.
Yeah.
Whereas like me, that like I have like the desire to want to do it, but like I'm like afraid of it. I'm afraid of like the reaction, and I'm afraid that it would just be uncomfortable. I'm afraid of like the feeling of being uncomfortable because it's like it's like a thing that like it's like sort of like a new thing, kind of like starting the podcast. Like I'm afraid of like the reaction of like men and just in general. I'm afraid of like their reaction, but I started and it's like actually beneficial. It's beneficial to everyone, and I think like I'm uncomfortable doing it because of like how I've like associated like affirmation. Like I've always just like kind of like you don't say that to like another guy to like not imply something else. Like you don't do that. So it's like so that's why I think that's why it isn't comfortable. But I'm trying to like break out of that. Of course, it's like it's for me. It's been like a journey because I didn't just like one day go, oh, I'm just gonna like I'm just gonna be like this just be like affirming everyone. It wasn't like a light switch. It was more of like putting myself in like situations and like contexts where I started to be more like comfortable doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, question: when you say affirmation, do you mean things like affirming your friends, like giving them compliments and telling them like stuff like they're enough, or do you mean self-affirmations for boys themselves?
I mean like affirming like your friends.
Affirming your friends?
Yeah.
That's Is it alright if I speak on that?
Yeah.
I honestly think it's very important because people have very low self-esteem, especially in like their younger years. So I think especially when a friend is down, it's nice to give them a compliment. Now sometimes people can overdo it and it gets to the point of being uncomfortable, and that kind of leads back to the point of what I said about conflating feelings of friendship for things like, you know, relationships, like romantically. It's important not to let it get to that point, and doing it just enough will help your friendship. But for some people, it's different than others, obviously, because everyone is a different person. So giving people compliments every now and then, especially as a guy, can help other guys.
So I'm saying, so my perspective is that physical. Stop it. So my like perspective is that physical and like verbal affirmations like can help actually like help. It can like actually help the friendship.
Right.
But maybe like initially we don't see it that way. I guess we don't see it that way, and it's actually more beneficial to like feeling like more closer to your friends. And we talk about I think when we first started the podcast, we talked about like loneliness, like male loneliness, like how it's such a huge problem right now, I guess. So we were talking about that, and but now we're like talking about like, okay, we're trying to make ourselves known to each other, and like Gary was saying how it's super like so remember like when we left, Gary was saying like how our culture doesn't like really like kind of value like affirmation kind of stuff like that. So we kind of like it's more like kind of like a learning thing, and just learning to like you see something in someone else and you want to like affirm that in them, and it's not like we need to like kind of get like the guy in the video was saying, we need to get rid of like that homosexualizing of it.
I think it's cool. Like, sorry, I think it's cool how much we reference Gary. We reference him like every episode.
Gary's the man.
Maybe we can get him on
He's
an
a
episode.
legend.
We get him on an episode. Maybe
We'll get him on an episode.
Because like we literally reference him every at least like a couple times an episode. It's like he's very insightful.
Yeah.
All right, so like going back on like the last topic, you guys were saying like between like male and females, like between males and females, like I know females can like definitely confront other people and like others' feelings, but it's pretty rare like a male. Like there's some males who actually do it, while some others don't. And I think males are like afraid to confront other people because they're afraid of like rejection, or they're afraid of like.
I was talking about like I don't want to cut you off, but like I think like I'm thinking about like the fear we have like the fear of like maybe the fear of like that closeness. We're like afraid of it. We're afraid of like that closeness we got.
Yeah, I know like exactly what you're talking about, like how close men are like being comfortable about not sharing their feelings. Like they get used to that, and I don't think they would hesitate to like reach out because, for example, like I said, I think they're afraid of like rejection or misery, or like those social norms like other people would have against them. Well, in females, like they do know how because they have those norms to do so.
That's like a great insight. That's definitely like a great insight about how it's more comfortable for women to be expressive and like men might like retract from that. That's like a huge. That's good.
Like it.
Yeah.
Like it.
What?
Oh, okay. What I was gonna add is, I guess my perspective on affirmations is that the affirmations I usually give, like to my friends, or like, I feel like it definitely depends. Like we were talking about earlier, it depends on like the situation, in the sense that I wouldn't be like, it's like, for example, if I'm like playing basketball with my friends, I'd be like, oh, nice shot. I'm like, oh, keep doing what you're doing. It's like stuff like that. I'm affirming them to like keep playing good, or like I'm affirming them like if they're missing one big thing that like works really well for me and that I do for my friends is like, if I'm like struggling missing shots, they're like keep shooting. Like they're affirming me. Like it's like to have that, like them having that trust in me. I feel like it's a lot different in sports though, because like it's not shamed upon in sports like at all as well.
So
yeah.
Mentioned that.
But yeah, sports
earlier.
And then another thing, yeah. So usually when I'm like in my perspective of like affirming people, I'm like, oh, and my friends, I'm like, oh, nice shirt. Or they're like coming to me, they're like opening up to me. I'm affirming them like things will be okay. That's another big thing that like only like a few couple friends I'll actually like open up to, or like likewise. And sometimes I feel bad because like I try to affirm them, but like it's kind of hard for me. I feel like sometimes I feel bad. I think I messed this last episode. I wish there was more I could do in affirming them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's my perspective on. I mean, that's how I affirm them. Just like being like, oh, it'll be okay, or like do my best to help them. Usually, like it's a very select few people I actually go to, like my brother and like a couple friends. That's it though.
Yeah, it's important, especially in hard times, to let your friends know that you're there for them by means of affirmation. And if you could give some examples of like affirmation that would maybe help a friend, like could it be verbal, could it be physical, like what kind of things could you say or do to affirm someone?
First of all, you kept asking me if I was okay yesterday. You remember that? Like you were asking me like, are you okay? And I'm not like used to that. Like hearing that from like another guy. That's another thing. It's like, oh, is he okay? And like I'm not like used to that. Like having that just like that deep care for me, like from another guy. I'm always feel like I have to be the one like caring for other people. So like and I've talked to like my therapist about this, about like how when people like care for me, I kind of like, what, like what, you actually care about me?
Yeah.
So it's like it's kind of like that where you where I kind of have to like sit with like I have to sit with being uncomfortable in the moment and like appreciate like what he's doing instead of just seeing like it like as I guess intrusive or just like they care about you, you know. Like,
yeah, but at the same time, the person that's giving those affirmations, you don't want to go too far in, because then it's like you're kind of intruding in their space.
Yeah, that's another thing. That's another.
Yeah,
thing.
because if you don't know they're comfortable with that kind of thing, even though it's in your best intentions, you really don't want to make them so uncomfortable that they're just like they push you away. Because if you're asking someone if they're okay every 5 minutes, and that kind of gets annoying.
Yeah, I've had to learn that too.
Yeah.
Like you keep doing that and like you don't listen to them.
Yeah, exactly. You don't listen to them when they keep repeating themselves, and you keep repeating yourself, and then it's like, you care about me so much, right? But yeah, it gets to the point where it's oversaturated.
Right, you don't want to like think about other things
Exactly.
with that person.
Yeah, it's too much. But I think, like I want to, like I guess if you, I don't know if it would have been better if you like watched the video now, because I have like a lot of ideas from the video and you probably don't know like what
I should have watched it.
Know what I'm talking about.
I should have watched it.
But like he was talking about like how like we just need to it just needs to be normal, and we just need to see it as, you know, just normal and just like embrace it and not like kind of just like retract from it. But I think it's like one of the things I'm starting to like appreciate more, instead of just being so uncomfortable with it. It like over time I'm starting to appreciate it. I have like even like other friends on campus. Like I don't know if you know Jesse. He's another psych major.
Yeah.
Always wears like the Kirby shirt.
You know what he told me?
Shout out to Jesse.
Shout out to him. I was talking to him like the one time. This was before I switched majors. It was last semester, and I was talking to him. I was like, I'm supposed to majors. He was like, dude, I'm a senior. I'm regretting this major right now. I was like, oh my god.
Well, I'm talking about like how he's like.
I know.
So Jesse.
I felt
like,
bad because he was saying that.
So Jesse is like he like he's always like hugging me and has that like energy of that positive energy.
It's contagious. Is it contagious?
Yes,
That's
which
good.
I'm very thankful for, because you never know what someone's going through, and he's kind of like always like he's always like affirming me.
He's jubilant.
Always affirming me, and just like is comfortable with like hugging me, and I appreciate that, and I don't go like what's wrong with this person, and you kind of like just appreciate it, and I think that's like the perspective that we need to like come to, instead of just like I don't know. But I think this topic's like really interesting. I think it's interesting. I'm comfortable doing this topic with like, I don't know how you guys would react to it. It's not like totally different from like the other episodes that we've done, but it's like kind of like relates to mental health, and like how it benefits mental health. It's a huge stress reliever to like touch and make sure like affirm someone. It's like it's like a huge
Yeah, it can make their day.
It can make me feel less alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's kind of how it relates to the whole goal of like my podcast. Is like what did we say the first day? I don't know what I said on the first day, but my whole goal for it is to like help men to spread awareness about mental health, but also the stigma of certain social norms, and the stigma of affection and affirmation. That's a social norm that is like, well, that's something that's stigmatized, basically.
Yeah, I think it's also very important for guys to know that there are people out there that care and people that understand, but also people that are confused, because a lot of people are confused at what's right and what's wrong in being a man, so to speak.
That's another thing.
Us.
We can do what?
Oh, sorry. Someone thought you were saying. I was like, we can relate to.
We can do like another episode on that if you want to.
What?
About like maybe like are we like what is a man? Like, are we like confused on like what being a man is?
Oh, okay, yeah.
We can do another.
It could be an idea.
Episode idea.
I was also thinking like
Okay.
guys like they're always like afraid to confront, always like afraid to confess. So saying that, I mean, I think we should talk about like how guys don't like confess to their feelings rather than women do, because I think men are always scared to do it.
I'm also like sorry. I feel like I was like cutting you off earlier. Was I like cutting you off?
Oh no, you're
Okay,
okay.
I
I
was
just
like-
didn't know what to say.
Yeah, I was like I wasn't trying to like cut you off. Yeah. So.
It's all good.
And for those of you listening, I think if like affection or like affirmation is like one of your friendship styles or languages, if that's like what you do, I kind of like want to encourage you to like be confident in that and like not be like afraid to show that. Obviously, in the right context, you have to like make sure that the other person is comfortable doing that, and just don't shame yourself for like that. That's like a natural. That's you. It's you being you, and that's a natural. It's a natural thing for you. So don't. This is a security thing popping up. So don't shame yourself for it. And Men's Couch is like here to like not shame. We don't shame anyone for their.
Yeah, don't be. I'm sorry, guys. Don't be afraid of who you are. You are who you are, and you should be proud of that.
Said on the last episode, if we can help like even if it's only one person, that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
My message to the entire world is be who you are. Don't listen to what other people are saying, because there are a lot of rude people who will talk down on you and shame you for who you are. So don't just listen to them, because that'll be just wrong to like hear what they have to say about you.
So another thing, like just what happened right now is like kind of like a little thing is like when I'm like quote unquote mad at Dimitri, sometimes I like grab at him, not to like in a weird crazy psychopathic way, but like I'll just like grab at him. It's kind of like a thing to like show like I'm not like we're not being serious, we're just like joking around.
Of course.
And it's not like It's not, you know, it's like kind of those moments where before I was like, no, like I don't want to do that. But do you have any like last words to say? Last words.
If you made it this far, thank you for listening. Shout out again to Royce. Thank you for coming on. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Good insights.
Thank you,
Jesse.
Yeah, shout out to anyone else we mentioned too.
Gary.
Get Gary on the next podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you everyone for always, we appreciate you guys listening. If anyone is listening, made it this far, thank you.
And we'll see you guys next time on our next show. Thank you.
Woo.
Whoop whoop.